Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Okay. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Looking like we belong on TV. I'm rolling with the LGBT.
So, hi, I'm Whitney.
I'm Kate.
And this is our new show that we're going to try doing called Queer Content. And basically the idea for the show is we want to look at different movies that feature LGBTQIA plus characters. And we want to analyze how well do they represent those characters and what does it do for the LGBTQIA plus community in general. And so each episode we're going to focus on a different movie. And today, to start off, we are going to focus on the movie Atomic Blonde.
Ooh.
Okay, so first things, a little bit about the movie. So Atomic Blonde came out year before
2017.
2017. And it is basically a spy sort of based action movie. The main character, Lorraine, is a British secret agent in Berlin in 1989 when the Berlin Wall is about to fall. And her mission, she is investigating what happened to a list of names of agents that are in Berlin. And so she needs to get the list before it is leaked and before those agents' identities get revealed. Ooh, okay, so next we should go over kind of the rating system that we're going to be using on the show. And so I was kind of inspired for our rating system by the Bechdel test, which is the test that kind of measures female representation in literature and movies. And we're kind of doing a queer spin on it to focus more on LGBTQIA plus representation. And so, what we were rating movies on. Number 1, how many queer characters are in the film? For Atomic Blonde, we have
Lorraine.
And?
Delphine.
Good job. The most typical French name they could possibly give the character.
It's really true.
Yeah.
I mean, try.
No. Shows and movies when they can't think of a female French name, Delphine. And so, yes, we have 2 queer characters represented, as far as we know, in the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I get a gay feel from Pennywise, but I don't know.
Percival.
Oh! Could be.
James McAvoy.
He's a wild boy. Who knows? Anyways,
very...
confirmed 2. The second thing that we're rating movies on is how integral are these gay characters to the plot. And so this one, like I said, ranks pretty high. Lorraine, we have being the main character of the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also with this one, I forgot to mention that Atomic Blonde, the movie, is based on the graphic novel originally entitled The Coldest City, which I also read and is pretty different from the movie in general, because the character in the book is actually straight, seemingly. Supposedly.
Still getting a gay read off of her.
I mean, I don't want to, assume anyone's identity just because she's only hooking up with men in this. But,
Fair enough.
I just think everyone's a little gay. One major difference, though, in the graphic novel is that the other character, Delphine, in the movie, what's his name in the novel? Henry? No. Pierre! Oh, the also most classic French name. How did I forget that? Pierre! So, Delphine's character, the French spy in the book, is a man in the graphic novel and was changed into being a woman for the movie. I was very curious about why they made that switch, and so I looked up why they did that. If I can find my phone. Where'd it go? Hold up.
They don't love you like I love you.
Oh.
So down.
I don't love you like I love you. Okay, so I looked up why they made the gender switch for Delphine's character. And this is the quote that I got from the writer for the movie. He said, in the graphic novel, the Sal character, the French agent, is actually a man. I said, I think it's cool if we gender flip this and make it a woman.
Ta-da!
And that's all.
But
Lorraine's the main character. How important do you think Delphine is?
I'd say she's, like, not very important.
Did you watch the same movie?
I know we, like, just watched it, but I don't think she's as important as Percival or Lorraine.
Yeah, but she's still, like, a vital character to the plot.
For character development, for Lorraine, she's important.
And for the plot. She's the one who gives her the photograph she needs.
What photograph?
Oh my god.
I think it's the relationship between Lorraine and Delphine is important only because we get to humanize Lorraine.
I
It's like
agree.
the-
I think their relationship does show Lorraine's, like, a different side to her.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we have Lorraine being, like, this badass sort of, like, spy fighting lady who's very, like, closed off and kind of cold. And then, like, when she's with Delphine, she does open up a little bit. We do see her being, like, vulnerable. And then third criteria that we're rating things on is, do we think the representations of the LGBTQIA plus characters are positive or negative? And so now I know how I feel about this movie in particular. What do you think, Kate?
I mean, I think it's not that important.
To their characters?
Yeah, like, because you know how in the graphic novel, like, not in a bad way, I think it's great that they are bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
But in the...
Well, we don't know.
We don't know about
Delphine's
Delphine.
sexuality.
Okay, restarting that. I don't think their queerness is important at all in the movie. I think
it's still important, like, representation-wise,
well,
that we have a queer
representation-wise,
main
yeah.
character.
Yeah. And she's powerful, and she's cool, and she's not a psycho.
Yeah.
Which is really good. But at the same time, the graphic novel, her love interest is a man. And
Yes.
like that
And it doesn't
that
change the
whole
plot.
aspect, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, but in a way, I think it's very important to have characters that are like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's very important to have stories that feature, like, LGBT characters that, their sexuality or their gender identity is, like, the main thrust of the plot. But I also think it's very important to have LGBT characters where that's not
who
the case.
just are.
Yeah, who just, like, happen to be gay.
I
Yeah. Question 3 for me, representation. I personally think this is a very positive representation of bisexuality.
yeah.
And here's my reasons why. One, like you were talking about, I think it's important. She's bisexual. It's never addressed her sexuality. She could be pan. Who even knows?
Mm-hmm.
But she's some kind of queer. They never address it. No one ever really judges her about it the entire time. Like, it's never even brought up.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool, especially in a movie set in the 80s.
Well, the AIDS epidemic was huge. This is 89, so the AIDS epidemic was in, like, massive full swing. Tons and tons of people were getting killed, not just gay men. But the majority of those people were gay men. So there was a lot of, like, just gay panic in general. And, you know, like, violence for gay men and bisexual men specifically was, like, at a sky high.
Mm-hmm.
For women, too, but, like, they also weren't dying from the disease nearly as much. So, for Lorraine to be bisexual in this movie, I think it's, like, bold
Mm-hmm.
in 1989 that, like, John Goodman's, like, so you made contact with the French operative.
Yeah, and they just make a
But
bunch of, like,
that's the
euphemisms
only-
about it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we really have as opposed
Yeah.
to them being, like,
Is it
You're gonna
historically
die.
realistic? I don't know. Like, for everyone to just not judge her about it?
no,
but-
I don't think it is.
Yeah, so I overall think it is an extremely positive representation from my perspective, like, in a queer sense and in a feminist sense. Bisexuality throughout movies and throughout media in general has typically had a very stereotypical and negative portrayal. From my experience growing up as a bisexual woman, I did not have many great media representations of bisexuality. And they kind of fall into certain, like, tropes, typically. It's like the bisexual people are either hypersexualized and slutty, and their bisexuality is, like, just a symptom of that. Either they're erased completely, and that's just like not addressed, or if it's two women, it's oftentimes just for like the male like view, you know? So they'll just have like one episode of something where it's like two women making out and it's just like basically for the male gratification.
Yeah.
Or they're shown as complete like unhinged psychos. And that's my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I was like, I kind of love that. I know it's terrible.
It's like awful though. It's it's so
terrible.
Many movies that I saw like growing up. All the bisexual people in it are nutcases. Like, and once again, their bisexuality is just a symptom of them being unstable. And so I would say typically it's been shown in a pretty negative light.
Yeah.
And I think more recently we've been getting a lot better representation for bisexual people, especially bisexual women. I think for men it's still like lagging behind a lot. But I think it's still super significant what they did with this movie. Because they could have just made it and just kept the French agent a man.
Yeah.
You know? But they like made this conscious choice to make Lorraine bisexual. Yeah, so overall I think it's very positive. I think it goes against all of those stereotypes. Like her sexuality is portrayed in the movie. Like we do see her having sex with a woman. But I don't think she's hypersexualized. Like she's very much a character outside of her sexuality. She's not seen as crazy. She's seen as very like logical and really good at her job. And she's not erased. It's like very like clearly shown that she has a past with a man and she's also having a relationship with a woman. But last thing, we're just gonna give the movie an overall rating, like what we thought about it as a movie and how much we liked it. Do you wanna go first?
Yeah. Overall rating out of what?
10.
Out of 10.
She didn't prep for this.
I would give it a 7.
Okay.
I think it's a reasonably good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculously hard to follow the first time you watch it. I know you were the only one that didn't have that problem, but I did. And most people leaving that were like, what just happened?
I think that's fair enough.
It's hard to follow. But other than that, I think it's amazing for the LGBTQIA plus community.
Mm.
I would rate it probably like a 6 or 7.
I felt differently. I give it a 9 out of 10. I love this movie. It was like one of the best movies I've seen in the last couple years, I think. Just like the amount that we have, like it's so rare to see an action movie with like a strong female lead character, especially a queer one. Like I honestly can't think of another movie that exists like that.
That's true. It is. She is very much like a female queer James Bond.
Yeah. And not only is it that, it's a well-made movie. The cinematography is really good. It sticks to the like graphic novel sort of format of her like interview and then the flashbacks. And there's like a lot of like quick sort of cuts that are very like graphic novel-y.
Yeah.
So cinematography is good. The soundtrack is killer. The soundtrack is so good.
It is really good.
The actors in it are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like very like a fun, visually stunning movie, and the plot's really good. Okay, I didn't give it a 10 because the plot is a little confusing. I feel like if you're only watching it one time and you haven't read the graphic novel, you might be a little confused by the plot. It's a movie you gotta watch a couple times to understand what's going on. Please let us know in the comments if you had a similar reaction to the movie, what you think about the representation for queer characters in this movie. If you agree with me that it was a 9 out of 10.
Or me.
And then also, please in the comments, let us know, do you have suggestions for future movies you would like us to watch? Because we'd like to start like getting a list started about other movies that we can review. And yeah, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you would like to see more videos that are like this.
I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Looking like we belong on TV. I'm rolling with the LGBT.
You crushed that.
Thank you. I tried.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.